Good evening, folks. It's Carl here. Um, this is ENTP 7311W or Entrepreneurship 3A. And tonight we're looking at Learning Unit 4 or Chapter 8 if you prefer in Neck and Murray. This session is all about the power of networks and what we can do with networks. As always, there's a bunch of learning outcomes. I've popped them on the screen. Please remember always to have a look at the learning outcomes before you take on the chapter or the learning unit so that you have a sense of where you need to go and what this is about. So networks and networking, networks are those group of people that you have got connection to. They are the people that are able to help you and assist you to do things. So they are, if you want to, in common slang or in common terms, they're your contacts. They are the people that know people that you want to know. They are the people that can do things for you. And this is very important for entrepreneurs. And the reason why this is so important for entrepreneurs is because contrary to, and we've spoken about this before, this idea of the solo entrepreneur marching through life trying to find a solution to the problems is a myth. Entrepreneurship is about collaboration. Entrepreneurship is about people helping each other and people being able to see where I know something that you need to know. I need to help you. Where I've got a shortcoming, for example, one of my weak points when I was running my own business was the marketing side. Um, so I got people that could help me with marketing, that knew about marketing, was good. I could sell. If you get me in front of a person, I could sell, but I couldn't market the product. And there's a difference. But once I got people that could market the product and the product I was selling, they could get me in front of people. And the moment I was in front of people, I could close the deal. So this idea that human capital is important is true, because human capital is the knowledge within the organization, what the people know. But social capital is as important. And social capital, it's that place where that social network, those people that you know that you exchange information with, ideas with, they help build your reputation. Remember something, you don't have a natural reputation. You have to build that reputation. Reputation is built by people trusting you and people developing in trust. And one of the best ways to develop trust is by word of mouth, where somebody says, listen, if you want this done, or you want to speak to somebody about this topic, go to that person. And when you help it, when somebody's referred to you and you help them and you get them to understand or you get them to do better, that builds your reputation. And they recommend you, they say, yes, this lady was recommended to me. I used her. She was amazing. And really, if you have that problem, speak to her. She's the expert in the field. And that builds that social capital. It builds that network of influence that you have, and that network of help that you can rely on. So social capital creates a bunch of things for you. And there's three linkages that the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development speak to. They a global organization that looks at the development of economies and so on. And they say social capital works on three levels: bonds, bridges, and linkages. So bonds are those people closest to you. They're people that are like you, they're your family, they're your friends, and they are similar, they're similar to you in terms of ethnicity, in terms of culture, in terms of background. You probably went to school with them and so on. Then the next one are bridges. These are people that are a bit further away from you. These are people like your classmates, and they may be a bit different to you. They might come from a different culture or a different background, but yet you've got a linkage to them through something that's common. And that common commonness creates a shared identity. So it could be somebody that you play golf with in the same golf club. It could be somebody, I do bonsais as a hobby. It could be somebody in my bonsai club. The two of us have a bond through that. Totally different people, totally different backgrounds, but there's a bond or a sense of identity that we share, and therefore I've got a bridge to that person, so I can go to that person and say, listen, man, we spoke Saturday at the Bonsai Club, but I said I would like to come speak to you about something business. Can you help me with this? Or do you know a person that does that? And then linkages are the furthest ones away from us. These are created by people that are far away from you, possibly in a different profession or different organization, but because of the social capital that you have, you become connected to that person. And it is actually, the connection is made through the social capital. There's not a bond or a bridge, but the linkage, that connection is made because of the social capital that you have built up. So what would we do with networks? Why would we want to network? Well, there's three key things that advantages that networks hold for you. The first one is private information. So within networks, there's groups of people that know each other and they know about each other. And there's information there that's not publicly available, a telephone number, an email address. And within this network, those things are available if you ask the right person. I used to belong to a networking organization, and we'll talk about networking and so on a little bit later on. I'll mention more about the organization then. And I once stood up in this and I said, I'm looking for a connection to this person. And one of the guys said, yeah, I know the guy. I play golf with him. Do you want to come play a round of golf with me? And I was astounded because I'd never thought that I'd be able to, by going to play a round of golf, get the opportunity to meet this person. I never did business with him, so it doesn't always work. But the fact of the matter is, I got to meet this person I wanted to meet, and I needed to have a chat to, because I wanted to do business with him. If it wasn't for that network, I would never be able to get close enough to that person. Then the next thing is the access to diverse skill sets. So within the network, within the people that you know, there are people that know a lot. So you may not have certain skills or know certain things, but I can tell you now, if you've got a network of people and you say, listen, I'm struggling with my tax. I can't figure out, I normally do it myself, but SARS is asking certain questions. I don't know how to answer these questions. And I'm going to be in trouble if I don't do this. You speak to your network, somebody in the network is going to know somebody that understands tax and understands tax laws. You're not asking for somebody to do your tax for free. You're asking for somebody that is able to give you advice and help, maybe for free. But if there's work to be done, you want to pay that person, but you want to know that that person has built this social capital. You want to know that this person that's going to do your taxes is the best possible person to help you, even if it's just to help you because they know somebody that you know, right? My my current insurance broker who does all my life insurance. He does my mom's investments. He does my sister's, her life insurance, her medical aid, all of this stuff. How do I know him? I know him. And my connection to him is he's married to the girl I went out with for most of my high school time. So he's married to my ex-girlfriend from high school. And because of that, and because we've got a very good relationship, amicable relationship, myself and the ex-girlfriend, I've got access to that network. I've got access to that diverse skill set. He has a skill set that I don't have. I don't know how to navigate insurance. I don't know how to navigate investments. He does. That's his specialty. And because he assisted me, I recommended him. He'd built his social capital. I recommended him when my mother inherited some money and when my father passed away, I said, but speak to David. David will be able to help you. I did the same with my sister. She and her husband were busy struggling and they weren't happy with their medical aid and so on. I said, listen, Yemen, I'm going to pass your number to David. I'm going to ask David to give you a call. Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. David called them, drove out, saw them, and he took over their business because he had built his social capital with me, right? Um, and now the rest of my family and my friends, because I recommend him quite widely, they've got access to that skill set. And then access to power. Some power works in many different ways, and we could actually speak about power for quite some time. But the fact of the matter is, um, you sometimes need to have access to people in senior executive positions, um, not because of who they are in terms of um, the position they hold, but because of the knowledge that they have. And you would be surprised whose father or mother knows whose brother is somebody important, and you can use those connections if you've built your social capital, if you've shown you're not abusing this, but you're simply using it because you need the help. You can have access to these powerful people, and these powerful people have access to their own networks, and they can introduce you to their networks. Um, Things that come up here as family linkages. Um, the only reason why Microsoft got the IBM contract originally is because Bill Gates's mother was actually on the board of IBM, and she introduced him to, I forget the guy's name, Jackers or something like that, who was a senior official at IBM. Bill Gates got the appointment, saw the man, spoke to him, and Microsoft was hired by IBM. As we know, eventually Microsoft grew to be much bigger than IBM, but it's because of this network that he could tap into his network, which included the family members, and they could put him in contact with powerful people. A senior official at IBM. I can't remember if the guy that he that the contact through his mother was the CEO or who, but it was a senior person in any case at IBM, and that gave him that ability to be able to start his journey in or to he had been on the journey for quite some time, obviously at that time stage, but to really solidify that and get the first real big contract. The issue is that students don't always use their networks. Now is some of the best time ever to network. You guys have the opportunity, and yes, I know you don't sit in a class with students, you're a distant student and so on, but figure out what you speak on your WhatsApp group. Say, guys, listen here, let's have a chat. Who does what? Who is situated where? You never know. You might want to put in an irrigation system. One of your classmates could be their field of speciality. They might be in the same city as you. But students tend not to, and there's a couple of big reasons why students don't. And that one is impression management, the other one is lack of confidence. Um, Impression management is the way that people perceive you. The impression that we form of others is formed very early on, and typically has a bit of a bias to it. The first impression that we formed um, is very quick. It's almost instantly when we see somebody or meet somebody, we form an impression of them. Um, and unless that person works at changing the impression, that's the impression that will stick. Students don't manage the impressions, right? In other words, realize that when you meet somebody for the first time, that you are creating an impression. When you speak up in class for the first time, you are creating an impression. And it's important to manage that impression so that when people form that impression almost instantly about you, when they first meet you, that impression is and I'm sitting here making inverted commas with my fingers, the correct impression. It's very easy to say something, or in a face-to-face meeting to do something that creates the wrong impression. And that impression is the impression that's going to stick. You're going to have to work really, really, really hard to change that first impression that people have of you. The other thing that students, and this, I think this is more than the previous one, aimed at more at younger students, um, less experienced students, is the fact that they have a lack of confidence. Students, and this is a general thing about younger people, but here we're talking specifically about students, um, tend to fear that they don't know what the right questions are to ask. They're not sure if their knowledge level is correct, if they are able to speak to people at a different level, and therefore they're insecure about their own. Don't be. Manage that impression. Think about what you're saying. Think about what you're asking, but ask those questions. Speak to those people. Um, at this stage, it's great for all of you. You're busy getting a qualification. Some of you are now getting a second qualification. You're busy getting a qualification, and typically a formal tertiary qualification propels people upwards in terms of their paths and so on. Whether you're working for yourself, whether you're working for somebody else, it's going to put you into a different place. Make sure that these people around you that are also mobile and going to a different place and are also going to become more senior and are also going to become bigger decision makers, that you have contact with them, that you understand each other, that you're building that thing we spoke about right at the beginning, your social capital with people, so that they will approach you when they need help, but also so that you can approach them when you need some assistance. In your network, one of the nicest people to have is a self-selected stakeholder. When you have a venture, you start a venture, you will find people around you that want to help, that believe in your venture. They may believe in the product, they may believe in you as the entrepreneur, they might simply think, geez, this is a good idea. And sometimes they might just simply be nice people. So these are people that buy into your idea. They self-select themselves as a stakeholder into your network and into whatever idea you are, and they want to collaborate. They want to help you. These are people that you want to lean on. These are people, and when I say lean on, always be careful. I'm never ever suggesting abuse this trust, abuse the fact that they really want to help you, abuse your network and get what you can and take. It's a give and take in a network situation. So you must make sure that you always give as much as what you're taking. Um, but these self-enrolled stakeholders are great people because all they want to do is they want to help you. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to sell your idea. They've bought into it already. Three things that's important, and I'm trying to quickly find somewhere here in my textbook. Um, it's Peter Senge, the chairperson of the Society for Organizational Learning, says there's three things that you can do to hang on to these these self-enrolled people. Firstly, be enrolled yourself. Show commitment. Show that you believe in your business, you believe in your idea, you believe in your future, you believe this business is going places, you believe that this business is going to be the best in whatever business they're doing, and you are prepared to work hard to make sure it is the best. Right? Secondly, be truthful. Be truthful. Don't sort of overinflate the business. Don't sell your business as much more than it really is. If you've only just recently come up with an idea and you've not built a prototype, say so. Say you're in testing phase. Who knows? They may say, "Oh, that's great. How can I help you to build a prototype?" How can I support you in building the prototype? Because remember, they self-selected. If you're talking about a business that's really, oh, my business is fully functional and there's no problems here and I'm ready to make a lot of money, and then they say, okay, right, I've got somebody that's interested in the product. Can you give me a demonstration model, or can I ask the person that you can? And they say, oh, well, actually, I haven't even built a prototype. Then they can unselect themselves from your network and say, I don't trust this guy. I like the idea. I thought I liked the person, but this person's not trustworthy. I'd rather walk away. And then when people self-select, they've self-selected. Don't oversell. Don't give the person an opportunity to choose. They will select into your business if they committed to it. And yes, let them self-select. Don't try to force the business down their throat. In terms of building these networks, there's many places where you can get support for networking, and many places where you can network as such. The different various, I've got a number of places listed. The civic organizations, seminars, organizations supporting entrepreneurs and so on. So there's, for example, many of the city councils will have small business chambers where the small business people and so on meet. There's many, sometimes free, sometimes paying seminars that you can go to, and then there are these things called incubators and accelerators. And I want to talk about these two things. They different, they're similar but different. And there's a couple of big ones around, and there's a couple of smaller ones around, and so on. Incubators are places that you go to with an idea. So you approach an incubator and you say, listen, I have X, Y, and Z idea. This is what I want to do. This is the direction I'm moving in. And they help you in the early stages. So they'll help you develop your idea into the point where you're ready to have a business. In some of these incubators, say for example, it's an IT program, they will help you to write the program. They will help you to get the app. They will help you to get to the point where you're ready to launch the business. And once you launch the business, they say to you, thank you so much and goodbye. And yes, by the way, you pay for that service one way or another, sometimes by shares, sometimes by a bit of profit, sometimes simply by putting cash into them. Accelerators are the next level. And what accelerators do is they help take a business that is launched to grow that business into a viable, long-term, sustainable business. So incubators take from idea to launch. Accelerators take from launch to viable, self-sustaining, long-term, sustainable business. Yeah, and that's the difference between your incubator and your accelerator. Obviously, you will be working with other people in incubators and accelerators if you join one of those. And by simply being involved in an incubator or involved in an accelerator, you're having the opportunity to network with people that have got their own ideas, people that are trying to launch their own business, people that are trying to build their own business to a sustainable business. And that's where it's worth your while to speak to these people and then use this opportunity to network. How do we network? How do what do we do? Well, one of the best things you can do is to understand what it is, and I mean we've spoken quite a bit about that now, and then to look at networking events or to join a networking group. I personally was involved with a networking group called BNI, Business Network International. There's a number of groups. I'm not toting one about the other one, but I'll tell you how BNI worked, and many of them work in a similar fashion. What we would do is we would meet once a week. It's compulsory to attend the meeting. We would meet for a breakfast. So we would meet from 7 until about 8:30, 9ish. Some of these groups meet in the evenings, some meet for lunch, whatever. And the meetings were exactly the same, structured in the same. It was a formal meeting, a breakfast meeting. We sat down, we were served breakfast, but there was a formal meeting taking place. And the basic idea of the meeting was that one business, at least, everybody got an opportunity to speak briefly about their business. The idea was also to bring visitors to the meeting, because that creates a bigger circle of a bigger network. It increases the size of the circle. And for the permanent members, only one person from each occupation was allowed. So if we had a person who was an estate agent, there would only be one estate agent. If we had a person that did renovations, there would be only one person that did renovations. If we had a lawyer, there would only be one lawyer. If we had an architect, there would only be one architect. And why am I naming these specifics? Because they would form a sub-network within the group. Because the person selling the property, it's very likely that their clients may need an architect to make changes. They would need a lawyer to transfer the property onto their name, and they may need a handyman or a builder to make the changes that the architect has suggested. Similarly, the builder might be called in, or the handyman might be called in to paint a house that people are planning to sell. They would then say to the person thinking about selling the house, you know what, I have got a really, really good salesperson, a estate agent, and I'd like to introduce you to them. And in that manner, everybody then was able to generate business for each other. Referrals, we called them, and you could refer business to each other. And that's and the idea as well. There's a whole lot of things. Everybody had an opportunity to do a 1 minute pitch of the business, but at every meeting, one person had 10 minutes to do a proper pitch. Also, we would arrange meetings, and you would meet, and these groups. Our group was max about, say, 25 people, but some of these groups go to 40 and 50 and 60 people. And the idea is also that you try to at least once a year meet with each of the other members of the group, to have a one-on-one meeting, so that you can discuss what you do, what they do, and that you can understand each other's business better. And to me, that was a very important part of networking, and a very important part of learning how to network, because one of the things that it taught me was the give and take of networking. That you are going to refer people to me, but I also am expected to find people that I can refer to you, people that can create more business for you. And sometimes the referral is not somebody that's going to do business with you, but somebody who's doing business with others that will do business with you. Because once again, you're building that network. You building it out. But you can only do that if you attend these type of meetings, if you go up to people and approach people at events and have a chat to them and say to them, how is it? My name's Carl, this is what I do. What do you do? How do you do? Oh, that's interesting. How does that business work? Who are the type of people that you're looking to do business with? Oh, I know somebody. And you build it that way. And the classic example is speaking to people, calling them on their names. The textbook names a bunch of other things. There's things like read the room, look at where the focal points in the room is. Where can you start a conversation? Look for groups that you can join. Are there people that are inviting and you can easily approach them? And when you start speaking to people at these events, commit to this discussion. Don't be distracted. Don't look around and say, yeah, that's interesting. Meanwhile, you're looking all over the room, trying to find somebody else to speak to. But by the same token, don't dominate the conversation. Speak to people, but don't dominate the conversation. And if you're asking questions, keep your questions to the point. And get the information you need to do, and then disengage. And if you disengage, don't just say, oh, thank you, and turn around and walk. Say, thank you, had a good chat. There's my business card. We need to have a chat later. Send them an email afterwards, and make sure that if people give you advice or assistance, that you thank them for that advice, thank them for that assistance. A common courtesy, but it goes quite far. And especially if you're trying to find somebody as a mentor. It's one of the greatest ways is by networking and finding a mentor, somebody that can help you, that has been through this, that's a more senior person in terms of entrepreneurship, and maybe even in your field that you are in developing a business in, that can mentor you and guide you. But yeah, if you build up a network of mentors, if you speak to a couple of people in your broader field, you'll find that over time you build up a group of mentors. And it's something that's interesting with entrepreneurs. They tend to gravitate towards a group of entrepreneurs. Where academics and so on typically have a mentor, the management people, they have a mentor that mentors them. Entrepreneurs, they tend to have, because the field of entrepreneurship is so wide, they tend to have a group of mentors, and the mentors mentor on different things. So you might have somebody that helps you with finances, but the next person might actually help you with product development. We also know that networking from a remote location is quite easy these days with the internet, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I should probably change that to X as well. Um, and there's lots of things you can do. I mean, if you think of Twitter, X, um, that's a very nice way to find potential stakeholders. But LinkedIn, you can also build a quite a good way. LinkedIn to me is one of the best ways of building your online network, making comments, writing pieces, telling people about what you think about things, asking for advice. Um, it's quite a nice place also, and to look around for mentors. If you start looking around on LinkedIn, you'll find people publishing articles and so on. Some of them are actually trying to find mentees and trying to find mentees that will pay. I'm not always convinced if that's a good way to go, but some of those people are honestly just trying to share information and trying to help educate people because they've got a passion for that. Um, and a last section of the work that's quite important is using networking to build your founding team. So the founding team is that group of people that start the business off. So typically you have the entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur has an idea, and then they sort of start reaching out and they're touching in the network and they're speaking to people in the network, and they then found the business. They become the founders of the business, and they've got these co-founders of the business, and that then forms a team. And the idea of the team is that we're going to launch this business, we're going to launch this product, we're going to grow this business. This is, although the entrepreneur may be the owner, but these people tend to be involved in the business, and they tend to be the people that want to grow the business over the long term and want to be involved, and hopefully all have some shares in the business, and hopefully then all make some money out of the business. Now, these founding members are typically found by the lead entrepreneur, and this they do through networking. How else are you going to be able to find these people? Because you're probably entering a field where you don't have all the knowledge. You might have the idea, but you don't have the knowledge of how to build certain parts of this business. Like I was saying earlier, I was never good at marketing. Had I involved a co-founder or as part of my founding team, a marketer, my business would have gone further quicker. But I only realized later how bad I am at marketing, and only found people to assist me with marketing much later in my business. Then also in this team, putting this team together, you want a diverse team. This founding team needs to be diverse, because people think differently, and if you have a diverse team, the worst ever team is a homogeneous team that looks the same, comes from the same background, and thinks the same. You want a team that is different. You want the DNA of the team to be different, to put it quite bluntly. You want a team from diverse backgrounds, languages, ethnicity, gender, education, because each one of those things differentiates the way in which people think. It makes people think differently, and you don't have people thinking exactly the same, the so-called groupthink, and just wanting to do things in one way because they believe there's only one way to do things. There's many ways to do things, and you want as many different people as possible so that you can have different options and you can then select the options. Um, One last thing that I need to touch on, um, in terms of networking and how this puts together, is you want people that play the devil's advocate. You want people that say, no, but this isn't going to work because of this, that, and the other. Because then others come up and say, no, it will work. We can make it work. And if we do that, then that's going to. And these devil's advocates, these people that sound negative, are sometimes really good people to have because they thinking the downside, where people tend to speak the upside. And let's not beat around the bush. Healthy and constructive conflict is a good thing. It helps us chase the organization goals. It helps us see the pitfalls, and it helps us as a team um, grow, and as a team be able to network wider and grow the business and see the pitfalls and go forward in leaps and bounds. Okay, folks, that's what I have regarding networking. Ask me your questions on networking. At this stage, you should also be aware that your assignment is due, I believe it's Friday. So there's a couple of days left. If you've got any questions about that, now's the time to ask me either about networking or about the assignment due on Friday. Any questions? Okay, if there's no questions, please keep in mind if you go look under the links, the recording links, there is a recording regarding the assignment. If you haven't listened to it, please listen to it. It's a bit late, but please listen to it. And then I'll chat to you soon. Mila, I see you asking something about the slides. Yes, what about the slides for the video presentation? Um, you're talking about the pitch deck and copying the headings from there. You've got to be careful with those headings. I would look at which of those headings are which of those headings are going to work well for you. If you feel those headings are going to work well for you, yes. But remember, for the pitch for the video, it needs to be your own and it needs to be directly related to the business that you're proposing. So try to keep away from generics. Make it all applicable to your business. So if you want to use those headings and then apply from there to the proposal that you're making, yeah, that's fine. That's not a, I don't see a problem with that. You could do that. But make sure that you don't overemphasize theory, but rather concentrate on the practical application from your business. We want to see you display your business. I'm assuming, okay, I'm seeing you saying thanks there. Anything else? Do you have to have text in the slides? Yeah, the I wouldn't have blank slides with just headings, unless you can really carry a conversation. I like to have slides. You'll see if you my slides don't have much words on them, and I sort of use that as a background to talk, rather than don't say what's on your slides. Don't read the slides. That doesn't work. But if you've got a couple of a heading with a couple of subheadings on the slide, and then you address each one of those subheadings, that's the best. But don't put your your text, the words that you are going to speak. Don't put them on the slides and read them, because then I can just as well read them off the slides and why you're speaking. So use the slides almost as your flashcards. And when you see something on the screen, and it also helps the audience when they see the words on the slide. So say you've got a heading and you've got 5, okay, you mean in-text referencing. Sorry, I'm going on. In-text referencing, yeah, you need in-text referencing, but in the slideshow, I don't really worry about that too much. You can, at the end of the slide, say, I use the following sources, but I'm not concerned too much about in-text referencing in the slides. In the assignment itself, yes, I want to see the in-text referencing. I want to see you use a lot of different references there. But in the slides, no, I'm not concerned about in-text referencing. I won't mark you down for a lack of in-text referencing in the slides. Is that it, Miller? Have you got anything else that you want to ask? I'm happy to answer questions. I just don't want to sign off and you still have things. I'm assuming your yes is that you covered. Guys, also remember my email address is on the screen. Please feel free to drop me an email if you've got any more questions. Please don't send me an email if it's due Friday at Friday 9 o'clock and say, sir, please can you help me with X, Y, and Z? You're probably not going to get a response then. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening and chat to you soon.